We're good.
Just like that.
We're live.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, and Happy New Year. It's New Year's Eve. We're coming at you a little bit later than normal, but after a week off, we are back with the Besse Boys Center Ice podcast.
Yep.
And let's just get all the formalities out of the way. Barry Besse, my son Carson Besse, hockey fans for years and years and years, Pittsburgh Penguins, Edmonton Oilers, NHL as a whole. We just love the game of hockey. We love doing the podcast about it. We're about a year into it.
Yeah.
This is our second season, but a year into it. We just love doing this. And we would like to thank the Refocused Radio Network and Shemaiah Reed for having us on his network. You can catch all of our podcasts, our YouTube podcasts, on the Refocused Radio Network. You can also catch I Am Refocused Radio with Shemaiah Reed and Sweep the League with Rudy Campos Jr. And I think Rudy's a little bit busy this time of the year.
Yeah.
Covering NCAA football, the Spurs, and NBA basketball. And, of course, as we get into the tail end of the NFL season, we take care of the hockey part. As I mentioned, we were off last week. The NHL pretty much was off last week, too. But a lot of things going on, and we're going to start with the week that was. Do you want me to start with the week that was? Well, it's a little bit more than a week because we haven't been on since the 17th of December. So for the Oilers, they went 3-1-1 since our last podcast. They beat the Boston Bruins, which was 3-2 on the 19th. Then a game they should have had in hand, but they took overtime to beat San Jose 3-2. I don't know why I say that because I say it because San Jose is at the bottom of the Western Conference, but they're a really, really good team. And so then the Oilers went and beat Ottawa 3-1 on the 22nd before the Christmas break. And then the last couple of games against LA Kings and Anaheim, a quick little California road trip, didn't turn out so well. Kind of like I wonder if it was the post-Christmas blahs for the Oilers because they had both games in hand, but then got to overtime against LA and then lost to a pretty good Anaheim team, but a game that they should not have lost 5-3.
No.
So you look at it, the Oilers are 21-12-3, third in the Pacific, and they're at a virtual tie with the Kings. Mm-hmm. But the Kings have, I think, less losses than the Oilers do. So they give them third place for that. Along the way, Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid are now on 11-game point streaks, both of them. And it's of course nice to see them going. The Oilers are 7-2-1 in their last 10 games, playing really well despite the last couple of games. And I really think when I look at the game as a whole, when I look at the team as a whole over the last few weeks, the bottom six forwards are really playing. Maybe they're getting on the score sheet a little bit, but they're playing that game that allows teams to not take. You can't take a line off because the third and fourth lines are in there mucking things up. They're getting into the corners. They're getting offensive zone time. They're causing teams to take penalties, which puts that power play, which is 13th or 12th in the league now, on the ice. So they're doing their part. The defense is shored up a little bit. I think there were some problems with Evan Bouchard and his little lackadaisical defensive play, but he's kind of picked it up a little bit. I like the six they have now on defense. I think they go with that. And then the goaltending, besides, the last couple of games against LA and Anaheim, both Calvin Pickard and Stu Skinner have picked things up a little bit. So, but as I'm going to get into, there is some chatter, and you see it all the time on the boards and on the posts and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff that's just not there, not real. But there's a lot of talk about the Oilers, a goaltender being waived, and taking a look at, speaking of the Ducks, John Gibson. But then that's been talk about John Gibson for a lot of time. I don't know if you really want to change that goaltending duo. That's I think the easiest thing to go to with the Oilers is their goaltending. It's like, well, it's Stu and Pick. It's them two.
Yeah.
But outside of, like I said, the last 2 games, their last month and a half has been really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
So do you go for John Gibson?
I don't see why not. I mean, he's good. He's
proven.
A great goalie.
Didn't he win the cup with them? Or no, maybe that was
I don't know if he was around yet.
No, that was Jean-Sebastian Zaguirre, I think.
Yeah.
But Gibson was in there when the Ducks were winning and going into the playoffs. So do you? I
think you might test the waters. And
you put Pickard down in the minors in Bakersfield, or do you waive him? I think you might have to waive him. And then if nobody picks him up,
Bakersfield,
then you put him in Bakersfield.
Yeah, but I think if he came in, I think he should be the number 1.
John Gibson?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think Stu, when he gets right down to it, that's a lot of pressure on him, and he hasn't been able to
uphold it
yet. He will down the road. He will be that guy,
right
but not right now. Jeff Skinner. I remember when the Oilers got him, I'm thinking, here's a 40-goal scorer. And with Buffalo, he just was on a bad team. He was the best player on a bad team. He's now a bad player on a really good team because he has not, outside of the first 3 games of the year, he's really not proven himself.
What do you think they should do with him?
Trade? I think he's trade. I think he's, if he makes it to the trade deadline, it all depends on when Evander Kane comes back. Evander Kane is still nursing that injury, his surgery on his sports hernia. So what happens when Evander Kane comes back will just determine when. I think they're going to have to pull the trigger on Jeff Skinner. I don't know him well enough. I've seen him play. I've seen him have some good little sparks, but it's mostly been disappointment.
Yeah, he's just not looked very good. Overall, not what he used to be.
No, not like like I said, he was the big fish in a little pond.
Buffalo, yeah.
And he was the guy in Buffalo for years. But it's stuff like that happens. You get a guy like,
sometimes it just does not work. That's the nature of sports in general. You pick people up and then just it's not guaranteed to work.
And look at Victor Arvidsson. He's been a great addition. Podkolznik has been a great addition. So you get guys, but
then you go to like the other way, like St. Louis getting Holloway and Broberg. Those guys have been staple players.
They've been great. And which, speaking of St. Louis, I think at the time there was like 5-1 or something like that
going on
in the Winter Classic. They were just totally
see what that looks like.
Taking care of.
It was 6-2 last time I checked.
Yeah, they were totally taking care of Chicago in the Winter Classic.
6-2 final in that game.
Yeah, so Winter Classic is gone. Where do you think the Winter Classic goes from this point on? I know there's the outside series, the outdoor series. Where does that Winter Classic go? What would be the ultimate? Now, it doesn't have to be an NHL city, I don't think. I really don't think if you're in proximity.
Well, I've heard some chatter definitely about people wanting it to be Washington, Pittsburgh again.
Yeah.
Before
in the two. Pittsburgh or in Washington?
I think you would do this one in Washington, but before they both retire. And last time that they played in the Winter Classic was Sid got hurt. He got a concussion in that game from a high hit. So I think that'd be a pretty interesting. I mean, having Colorado and Dallas, I think would be neat. And Denver.
Okay. Do you do another Edmonton, Calgary? Or do you do
Heritage?
Yeah, like a Heritage thing again, maybe in Calgary this time?
I don't think you do Edmonton, Calgary again. I think it's just maybe Edmonton, Vancouver.
Edmonton, Vancouver would be interesting.
Where Edmonton.
Would you play it? Because technically BC doesn't have an outdoor stadium like that. The BC Place is an indoor stadium, like the football stadium. So I guess you would maybe go to Commonwealth Stadium again.
Or you could do
besides Washington, Pittsburgh. Other than that, where do you think what NHL city and teams should be the next in line?
Oh, I think it'd be cool if they did it in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Because they had it in St. Louis. Wait, wasn't it? It was in St. Louis last time. No, it was already in Minnesota. It was what it was.
Oh, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Boston and Florida and Boston,
Mhm.
where Gillette Stadium or wherever
Yeah.
where the Patriots play. But it'll be interesting. I don't know when they're going to announce the game for next year, what it'll be, but
Yeah.
we'll see what ends up happening with that. But yeah, the Winter Classic kind of took away from it this year, though, because of the fact that they didn't play it on New Year's Day, which is typically when they do.
Yeah. So technically, they
They've
had
been
two Winter Classics
in 1 year.
one calendar year.
Pretty neat from that one, too. Did you see Cam Fowler played his 1,000th game?
Yeah.
And he scored 2 goals in the game.
In the Winter Classic. Yeah, that was
that's
nice
pretty
to
neat.
see. Okay, so we talked about the chatter going on. Now, coming up for the Oilers, they're at home tonight in about 45 minutes against the Utah Hockey Club. Second time they've seen them, first time in Edmonton. Friday at home for a rematch with the Ducks, so that should be an interesting game. Got a little chippy in that game the other night. Then they start a 4-game roadie, Saturday in Seattle, Tuesday in Boston, and then I can't remember who they play next week, but they're on the road. Did they play in Pittsburgh?
Next Thursday.
So for the month of January, they've got 14 games, 7 of them at home, 7 of them on the road. In December, they played all but like 3 games, I think,
At home.
In Edmonton. So they're going to get
a lot of road games.
A lot of road games coming up here. So, right, that's the week that was for the Edmonton Oilers. Still, I can't complain about a 3-1-1. I just didn't like the last couple of games.
Yeah.
I thought they just kind of phoned it in.
Yeah.
And now the Pittsburgh Penguins.
So I don't have my exact numbers like you for since the last time we recorded, but they've been playing really good, really good. If anything, I feel like they're probably pretty close to around the 3-1-1 record. They've pulled themselves to above 500 now.
Well, they're just outside.
We're the first team out of the playoff spot, and
out.
pretty much all the games are pretty meshed in. So that's where they would be, even if the team's caught up, which is nice. They've done a great job pulling themselves out of it, especially, this week. They did have the rough game against the Islanders this week in New York. I think they should have had that game, and they just played a pretty bad game. But then they go back the next day and respond against the same Islander team at home, and they play a really good game and beat them there. During this stretch of the last, even 15 so games, they've beaten really good teams. Like they beat Florida, they beat the LA Kings. Teams of Vancouver, teams of high priority. They've really done a great job holding themselves in and playing really well. Again, they're above 500 now. They're 17, 16, and 5, and they're fourth in the division. So I'm really happy. They've been playing really good, and the whole lineup's contributing to the team's success. And you look at, I was texting you about this yesterday, but something that's underrated, not being talked about enough, is the power play and penalty kill. 5th place in the power play in the league. We're at 26%, and then the penalty kills at 7th place. Special teams has been great, thanks to the help of David Quinn, who got hired to do that this year. It's looked really good. Both units are clicking. They split up Sid and Gino on the power play, which has looked really good, honestly. Both units are really contributing. The guy that's been scoring a lot of them is Bunting. He got back-to-back games of power play.
Every time you say Bunting power play, when he texts me, it's like that. He's power play guy.
Yeah, so it's been nice to see that. Another thing that happened in the last game against the Islanders, Sid got the assist number 1,034, which puts him first place all time for
ahead of Mario
for Penguins all-time assist leaders. So we thought he had it in Long Island the other night, but they took it away from him because one of the Islanders had control of the puck and then turned it over. So he finally got it, and a great backhand assist. Of course, it had to be. But really cool. That's still a big problem for the team, is letting in so many goals. They're 32nd in goals allowed, but it's crazy to think that they're 32nd in goals allowed, and they're still winning games.
They're still in the hunt.
They're scoring a lot of goals. It's been spread from lines 1 through 4, which is great. You don't have to rely on the top guys to score a lot, but they've been playing really good. Raquel's doing great. He's at 16 goals this year already, which he didn't get that many last year, and he's already above it. Brian Rust too. Just great to see the success from the team. Even the guy that I feel like too has been done a great job is Lizotte. He's at 9 already, I think, this year, 8 or 9 goals. Tomasino, he's got 4 or so now, and 6-7 points with us. this team's looking really good. Defense has been getting banged up, though we've lost a lot of guys. We lost Pedersen for a while, and he's coming back today. But then we got Letang now in IR from an injury he sustained in the game against the Islanders the other day. So they just got to keep playing their game. Goaltending's been a bit better. They've been definitely stopping more pucks. It's just starting the games on time. The big thing with them is they're letting in a lot of early goals within the first few shots, and we got to stop that.
Playing catch up.
But you know what? I'm happy with it. They were 7-12-4 at one point, and now they're completely turned their season around. I'm really happy about that, and I think this team right now looks a lot better than last year's team, and they're poised to make a good run to make the playoffs. Coming up this week, they do have a tough schedule. They're playing actually right now in Detroit against the Red Wings to close out the year. And then they open up the new year by playing in Florida on Friday and then heading to Carolina on Sunday. So those are two tough games. I mean, Carolina is a team we can't seem to figure out. Thank God that's the last time we play them this year. Hopefully we can sneak at least a point, but I think we could win that game if we keep playing the way we are. And then the Florida game, again, we beat them earlier, but that was without Bob and Net. So we'll see what happens there. Nonetheless, starts today, play a good game against the Wings and then move on to the new year. But they definitely closed out this year really well and they put themselves in the hunt to be a playoff team. There's been some rumors going around. Well, what's going to happen with like Raquel? Is he going to get traded away? Is Pedersen going to get traded away? I think you maybe try to go Pedersen and try to get some guys, some younger guys out there. But I don't think you trade Raquel. You have finally a guy that's scoring a lot of goals on Sid's wing. He needs that there. I really don't think you trade him. He's worth keeping him around. The only way you could trade him is if you get a lot of guys that are ready to go now that can slot in there. But the way he's been playing, I don't think you get rid of him. But nonetheless, playing really well. Hopefully they beat the Wings today and keep it going.
What about Jesse Puljujärvi?
Yeah, he didn't get picked up. He got waived yesterday, but he didn't get picked up. So he's just reporting to the AHL, which is good. I'm glad we didn't lose him.
Yeah, because I was actually surprised that I saw him on waivers.
Yeah, well, he's at 8 points in 21 games so far this year. And, he's been getting shafted, really, because he's not being sent down, but he's not playing. So it's a waste of his time. But now he's going to get sent down and play. But I'm hoping that he can fit back in the lineup because when he's been there, he's been a solid forechecker. Really putting up a lot of points for his role. I don't know why they waived him, but you know what? Thank God he didn't get picked up. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to come key in the next couple of months when injuries maybe start hitting up. He's going to be that guy that they're going to need there.
I heard a lot of people wanting the Oilers to pick him up on the waivers. Didn't work out the first time, so I don't see why I would want to do it the second. And Puljujärvi has played his best hockey with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think he has been. I mean, he fits in the system. He's playing hungry. He wants to play there. I don't see why we tried waiving him, but it didn't work. So thank God he's still here.
Now, the topic we've been talking about for weeks and weeks and weeks.
The
New York Rangers. Last year's President's Trophy winner with 114 points.
For the best or highest amount of points in the NHL.
In the NHL regular season.
For the best record.
Eastern Conference finalists.
Yeah.
And now they are 3-10 in their last 13 games. The whole month that's December.
Yeah.
13 games in December, they win 3 of them and lose 10.
The worst part of it for Ranger fans, they are eighth and dead last in the Metropolitan Division. They're going to finish the year 2024 last place in the Metropolitan.
And they're like in 8th in the East period. I think, or something like that.
In the East?
In the overall in the East.
Oh, let me look at that right now.
No, maybe it's like
I guess I have to scoreboard check real quick for the Penguins.
Yeah. But the Rangers have just fallen. Like, that, look at the beginning of the year for the Oilers. They were 0-3.
Rangers in the conference.
In the conference are
14th.
14th. Okay, so it was 8th in the Metro.
Yeah.
So the Rangers just, sometimes good teams will have some bad games and they'll go,
but not like
when you go 3 for 10.
They traded Kakko. They traded Kakko to Seattle, and he's looked good there, and he's found his role of being a top minutes guy. I've heard plenty of sources say that the room is completely lost. Plenty of people I think are going to be on their way out. It's crazy. I didn't picture this happening, but you know what? I hate to say it because I mean, I don't mind the players, but their fans are just so annoying. And, I hate to say it, there's not a fan base that I don't want to say deserve that more than the Rangers, but definitely. I mean,
Mhm.
they are a team that has only won one Stanley Cup since 1940. That's almost 85 years.
Yeah, that's an
They
original
don't.
6 team.
Yeah, they're a big market. They're in the New York City, but they're playing horrible, and their schedule really is getting the meat and potatoes of being tough. I mean, they play Florida, they play New Jersey, or they played Florida the other day. They play New Jersey. I think they got to play Tampa Bay again, Boston. I mean, these teams are just feasting on the Rangers, and I mean, even then they've gotten beat by some lower level teams. They got beat by the Blackhawks. They got beat by the Kraken too when they were there. It's just I mean, I think this is worse than the Nashville situation, to be honest, because this is a team that almost made the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
And really, if they don't turn things around the next couple of games, I mean, you're not going to make it. They're not going to make it.
No.
They're not going to make it top 3 in the division. There's no way they're going to make it. Wild card, you still got to beat teams that are hungry and playing that way to get there.
Yeah, there's still a lot of good teams.
I mean, teams are feasting on their confidence that they don't have it. So, I mean, what do you think at the end of the year? What do you think they do? Like, what do you think their end result is of this year? How do you think they even finish?
Oh, I don't think out of the playoffs, definitely. They may move up a little bit in the standings in the Metro, but I don't see them making the playoffs at all. They're going to go from number 1 overall in the regular season to a team that didn't even make the playoffs. I don't see them making the playoffs.
I really don't know how this happened. I mean, it's crazy to think that it did happen, but you know, there's players in the team I like. Like, I really like Shesterkin. He's a great goalie. He's not getting helped by his team. Obviously, they're not scoring any goals. But I definitely think there's some pieces there that they're going to get rid of to get something back. And these guys are going to go to teams and make a difference.
There's going to come a point, I think, around the trade deadline where it's like they're going to be sellers. They're going to get rid of a lot of guys.
I think they get rid of Kreider. They try to get rid of Zibanejad. Do you look at shopping quick?
Yeah.
To get him to a contending team and trying to get something for him, because
I think it'll come to the trade deadline and they're going to have to say, we're just got to play for next year. We got to get ready for next year.
And it's crazy. I mean, we were just talking about it too now. Okay, 2 things in the division that have happened that have been completely unexpected. Number 1, Washington being where they are, first in the division, one of the top teams in the league. They've been playing so great all year. They were supposed to be at the bottom, and the Rangers were supposed to be the top team in the division, and they're not. They've pretty much swapped places, like Pittsburgh. We went from 8th to 4th. Even teams like Columbus, who's hanging in really the thick of it. It's crazy that the Rangers are literally one of the bottom teams now in the whole league.
Yeah.
This is not the New York Rangers from 2019, 2020, where they weren't that good. They've got good players.
Yeah.
And they're just not winning games, and they're just going out there and playing like garbage and making so many mistakes that teams are just capitalizing. Half the time these games are over in the second period, the way they've been playing, it's crazy. Yeah. I can't imagine.
It's just the free fall. Like, I don't like to see good teams like that go that bad, but
you wonder just
what's going on. Like, why can't they just,
and it's obviously not a coaching thing because they haven't gotten rid of.
No.
And I've heard like that Laviolette has not lost the room. So it's the players.
Yeah.
I mean, are they prima donnas just wanting to get their money? And I mean, they don't care if they win or lose, or what's kind of, going on. Cause at some point there's enough talent there. You can win a game and they're just not winning a game. They finally won a game a couple weeks ago against Dallas, and then they've lost like 4 straight since then. So it's like it's not clicking.
No, there's something going on in the dressing room. There's something going on with the players.
And people thought the Christmas break would help them out having some time off, and they've lost 2 straight games since Christmas time. They lost in Tampa and then in Florida against the Panthers. So
every time you lose, especially in your division or in your conference, your chances of getting back up diminish. And
those are 4-point swing games, especially the division games. You don't want to lose to a division team, but because that's the format of the league is divisional. But it's nuts.
I think if the Rangers if they want to do anything, and just now 2025 starts tomorrow, if they want to do anything, they have to adapt the 8 game strategy. You'll 5-3 every 8 games, and then you get yourself back in it that way. But
still, it's crazy. They've got to play some tough games yet. Yeah. There's a lot. That's saying there's probably 44 games or so left for
games,
them.
I think,
for the Rangers. 46 games probably left for them, and they've realistically probably got to win 30 of them, if not more. And that's still playing teams probably like Avalanche, Vegas, and
They gotta play
the
the
West,
Oilers
Vancouver
again.
probably.
Yeah.
Like they've got to play some tough games. They really do. And I mean, they're not an advantage anymore when they play at home.
No,
They've
not at
got no
all.
advantage.
Not at all. So the last thing that I have, we already talked about the Winter Classic that just ended. Ovi's back.
Yep.
He got an empty netter here the other day, and he's 25 away from the grade one Wayne Gretzky's record for most goals in that career. He's got 42 games to do it, so he's got 25 to go. Do you think that he'll do it this regular season?
I don't think he will. I think he'll be close. I think he'll have like maybe 9 or so left come the end of the year.
Because he started out just on a
but then unfortunately,
he got hurt.
I don't care that he's an arch rival player. He got hurt. Unfortunately, that sucks because he was on a great pace. But I think he finishes it out next year. He beats the record. Honestly, I could see him beating the record like against an Eastern team. Like it could be cool if he did it at home. But yeah, I think 16 or so at the end of the year. But you never know. I mean, this game is crazy. He could have a hat trick a couple nights now, and that's cut his margin in half. But I mean, he's been playing really good. I think he's been leading that team really well, playing not just to score, but to lead the team to win. And I think that's a different Ovi than we've been used to seeing in the past. Before they won their cup, we've seen a different Ovi since then that he's just wanting to win.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't hit the score sheet, okay, cool. What have I got to do to make a difference to make my team win? And that's been cool to see. And they've been playing really good. Good on them. Their goalie's been fantastic. Their coach, I think, Carberry, he should win the Jack Adams for the Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
But really cool to see that. Hopefully he beats it. I'm excited to see him beat it. And
like Wayne was talking about, when it gets close, he's going to follow him, and he's going to do like what Gordie Howe did to Wayne when Wayne.
That's going to be one of the best sports records to be broken because this record has been standing in the test of time for forever, and nobody thought it would be broken. No, and I mean this is such a remarkable thing to see happening in this day and age when the game really at this point. It's a lot harder to score goals because the goalies are a lot bigger. They are a lot bigger in general, but even with other padding, some of them are 6'5", 6'6", and they're goalies, and they got these big old pads, and he's still, even from the same spots, from that face-off dot, he's just ripping them. Like it's crazy, but it's going to be cool. I'm excited to watch it. I'll be watching, like when it gets closer to that time, definitely be watching the Capitals games because that's history that we're going to be witnessing in the sports world for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. Like I'm a Wayne Gretzky fan. I'm an Edmonton Oilers fan. So I watched Wayne play all those years in Edmonton. But to see a record like this be broken is that's it.
If you're a hockey fan, you're excited to see this happen because history is records are made to be broken, and this record's that close to be broken.
Well, that's about all I have for like it was with the Christmas break.
But again, I mean, we have kind of a wacky little schedule because we just were off. But again, we'll be back again. Tuesday. We'll
be back on Tuesday nights, right around that 5:45 time slot. You can catch this. We'll have it. It'll be on Facebook here in a little bit you can watch back, and then it'll be on the Refocused Radio Network. Probably not tomorrow. Probably on Tuesday because tomorrow's a holiday. And so we'll be on there. We're on Spreaker.com. You can catch Carson and I on our TikTok pages. We do post games for both the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Edmonton Oilers, good or bad. And you can catch us there. We really appreciate if people coming on and coming on the show. Even if it's not showtime, you can message either one of us on our Facebook pages and ask questions, say who your favorite team is. I know we got a big Ranger fan out there that we like to get some answers from out there in the New York State area. Dave Rogan, I'm not calling you out or anything, but you need to. I just did now. You got to call us and say what's wrong with your Rangers because we're baffled. We don't know, but we just really appreciate all the support we get from the Refocus Radio Network. Check out our podcast. Check out Rudy's podcast on Sweep the League, Shemaya's I Am Refocused Radio, and a lot of other great stuff going on. We'll be back on Tuesday. We'll have more the week that was for the Oilers and the Penguins and look at what's going on as we start the new year. Happy New Year, Carson.
Yes, you too.
And Happy New Year to everybody out there. Hope everybody's safe and happy. And you know what? It's in between time. Oh, no, I'm sorry. In the meantime and in between time, everybody have a great hockey night. Carson loves when I say that. I know he does. I know he does.